All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupagus show. I am One Bar with Lupagus post-game wrap. It might not have been pretty, but damn it, the Vikings walk away with a victory 27-24 in overtime against now the 1-11 Jaguars. Lupagus, how are you feeling?
Well, even though we won, it still almost feels like a loss. The Vikings did everything they could to give this game to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Missed extra points, fumbles on the goal line, a pick six, but somehow they still come out on top. And I think the big thing we got to start with was the injury to Eric Kendricks in the pregame warmups. The team, I think it really kind of shocked them, set them back, and you could tell they were. It took some wind out of them. I think it took them that whole entire first half to really get over losing their leader on defense.
Yeah, Kendrick goes out with a hamstring injury. They move Eric Wilson inside, bring hot Todd Davis from the bench, throw him outside. So it was Todd Davis, Troy Dye, Eric Wilson. You hate to say that one guy makes that much of a difference, but Eric Kendricks is damn special. And you know what? Unfortunately, he does make that much of a difference. And you could totally see it because we were outmatched by the shitty Jaguars in the full first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right away, the Jaguars went after it, throwing the tight end over the middle, testing out Eric Wilson, Todd Davis and company in coverage. But then, it's just the story to me in the first half is how bad the Vikings offensive line was, and it was the entire game, really. Could not open up holes for Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins was under duress the entire single game. And this is kind of troubling because this has kind of been about 3 weeks in a row now. The Vikings O-line has been shit. It's been like it was early in the season.
Yeah, which is surprising. Ezra Cleveland was back. So expectations were that they'd be pretty good. And the worst part about this is the Jaguars defense, especially defensive line, is crap. And we made them look pretty damn good today. I think they had 4 or 5 sacks, which is not – Jaguars don't get sacks.
3 of them went to Dwayne Smoot. So
freaking Smoot.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings made him look like a perennial Pro Bowler. I don't know. This O-line is a huge concern moving forward. And while the Vikings make their last 4-game push toward the playoffs, it's a major concern. It's a major issue. Let's see what else. That first half, is that when Dan Bailey? No, did he miss any extra point? He did. First touchdown, missed an extra point. Dan Bailey with a rough game. We all cheered when Chase McLaughlin missed his, and Dan Bailey, he went a little bit beyond what Chase did.
Yeah, Dan Bailey, I mean, he's had a pretty decent season up to this game. He had a very, very bad game. When you're in overtime and you're on the 2-yard line and you're still not kicking the field goal, that doesn't vote a very good ton of confidence in your kicker. So that is a big issue. And while we are kind of starting this off with a lot of bitching, even though the Vikings won, I think this bitching is well-deserved. We'll get into some good things too, but when you look at the Jaguars at now 1-11, and we got 4 turnovers. They had a lot more penalties than us, and it still goes into overtime against the Jaguars. That is a serious issue. That is very depressing.
Well, it is, and what makes it worse is you had to let them get 8 points to get to tie the game up. Not only do you let them march down the field, you weren't even close on covering that 2-point conversion. It could have ended the game there. The Vikings had so many chances to put this thing away. Dalvin Cook on the 1-yard line, fumbling, the missed extra points. It was just like, I don't know. This is why I can't buy into this team being a playoff game or contender, seriously one, because there's just so many issues, so many mistakes, and it's weird ones. We talked about in the pregame. I said, what is going to be the weird thing today? And it happened again.
Yeah, and this Vikings game, they seemed like the Vikings of the first few games where there just wasn't much spunk out there. They didn't seem like they really wanted to be there. There wasn't much fire, which you got to have when you're fighting for a playoff spot. Luckily, they played a team like the Jaguars, and this wasn't next week against the Tampa Bay Bucks, who is a much better team than the Jags. But it was pretty tough to watch. It was painful. They were doing short passes, not being aggressive defensively. They just looked horrible. So luckily, we did play the Jaguars.
Well, that's another thing we should talk about. Gary Kubiak's play calling the first half, not taking any shots, dinking and dunking. Wasn't really feeding Dalvin Cook much in the first half. It seemed like he's really wanting to throw the ball and throw it short at that. So kind of weird it was just weird play calling, weird vibes. The whole game was just kind of moving slow, long breaks in between plays. This ref crew kind of I thought they had a little bit of an issue getting this thing going. One thing we should talk about too, Dalvin Cook. I don't know. This is a couple games in a row now where, he's not been stopped, but he's definitely been slowed today. You see him get tripped up by some little ankle tackles. He tripped on the turf once. He fumbles on the goal line. Do you think Dalvin Cook's 100%? You concerned at all about the last couple of games he's had?
Dalvin Cook was one of the main guys that's just really didn't look like he wanted to be out there. Even on that interception, he just kind of stopped. He wasn't really going after the guy. It's tough to say. I mean, he had 120 yards on the game. This might be the quietest 120 yards ever. Granted, he had 32 carries, so they were still continuing to pound the ball, but something seemed off with him. Whether he's 100%, I'm not sure, but he just didn't seem like the regular Dalvin Cook. And unfortunately for us, we've seen this down the stretch pretty much every year for Dalvin Cook where he gets slowed down. You give a lot of running backs in this league 32 carries, they're probably going to put up some big numbers. But Dalvin Cook just didn't seem like Dalvin Cook today.
He didn't. 3.8 yards carry. We saw something similar with Adrian Peterson back in his prime. He would have these games where he just kind of was, I wouldn't say he was shut down, but 32 carries, 120 yards, not great. Just kind of meat-grinded performances. Cook, he couldn't pound his way in the end zone. I don't know. I feel like in those goal line situations, I don't know why they don't kind of pitch him out and let him use his speed and get to the corner. They always want to see him just to pound that thing up the middle. And, man, he was close, though, in overtime there. I thought he maybe crossed the stripe. But, Dalvin Cook, definitely not a turd, but I don't know, a little bit of concern regarding him moving forward.
We'll see what happens next week. I'm gonna give him this week off. I'll give him a pass because he did have a good game. While we're still kind of talking about the Debbie Downer moments before we get into the good stuff, KJ Osborne again, tough to watch. That's just something we're gonna have to deal with when it comes to returning punts until we find someone else. Chris Boyd, tough first quarter, very tough to watch.
Well, and then Jaguars, that first touchdown, complete luck. Chris Boyd broke on it late. He probably should have picked that thing off. Then it goes into Laviska Shenault's hands, which was weird because it looked like it was behind him, but somehow he caught it in front of him. Just a bizarre play all around. And then later, Chris Boyd jumping about 7 seconds too early on a Colin Johnson bomb. He had position. He was in the right spot. He just jumped. He was very premature in a jump. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I think he started jumping right as they were hiking the ball. It was very, very weird. Maybe he needs some glasses. I don't know what happened there, but Chris Boyd has had some rough games, and this one just goes on top of it. I know you're not a big fan of him, but I'd love to see more Harrison Hand. There's not much of a difference when it comes to Cook and Hand, so get Hand out there. Put put Boyd on special teams.
Okay, calling Chris Boyd Chris Cook is one of the rudest things you can ever do to another cornerback.
That's the good part. I don't even remember his name. He's so bad.
I don't know. I mean, here's Boyd's thing. On that Johnson play, he had perfect position. He just jumped too early. I mean, he's not like he's out in the wrong spots. He's close. He's just right there. He just can't make these plays that he needs to make. They bounce off his head. I don't know. I mean, a better player probably would make those plays, but Chris Boyd is what he is.
Chris Cook, who?
No, I would never call him Chris Cook. Never be
right. That's showing nothing. All right, let's talk about some good things. Let's look at Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, 28 of 43 pass attempts against the Jaguars. I would have never thought that. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, was sacked 4 times. Overall, Cousins, I don't know if it was the play calling, what it was. Just so many damn short passes. I don't know who he put that on, but it was Kirk Cousins didn't look very comfy back there at all today. He was getting his ass kicked. And look at Lupagus is frozen. I'm going to keep talking, hoping that he loops around so we don't have to do this again. Kirk Cousins, yes, so 305, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Not great, but he did the job. Did show some plays with his legs again, 3 for 12. Oh, yeah, you're back. Congratulations.
Well, one thing I want before we move on to Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook. Have you ever seen a running back slide? He slid. He freaking slid. Pussy move on Dalvin Cook's part.
Okay, first of all, that is very vulgar. Second of all, he has gotten his butt kicked so bad this year. I will give him a pass on that slide. Maybe he was just a little fed up with taking so many hits with this many carries. Damn it. He can slide next week and I won't be upset.
Lower your shoulder, get some more yards. You're a damn running back. You're not a quarterback. All right, let's go into Kirk Cousins.
We already talked about Kirk Cousins while you were frozen. I think I wrapped that up pretty good. Let's go to the wide receivers. Justin Jefferson, over 1,000 yards on the year. Woo! God damn, he looked good. 9 for 121 and a touchdown. And those stats would have been even more with that mildly bad call of offensive pass interference on the time. He did touch him just a tiny bit. Tiny bit.
I don't like that call in that moment of the game, especially when it's against us. But yeah, I don't know. It was close. But Jefferson, again, he wasn't really open, making tough grabs when he's covered. So yeah, I mean, the guy he just keeps making plays.
Yeah, he's the real deal. It's gonna be fun to see what he ends up with. See if he breaks Anquan Bolden's rookie record for receiving yards. Thielen, 8 for 75 in our pregame. We talked about, hey, I wonder if they're going to keep spreading the ball around. They absolutely did not do that. They looked at Thielen all damn day. Justin Jefferson as well. So clearly, when those guys are on the field, that's all Kirk Cousins is looking at, and so be it.
Yeah, he found Tyler Conklin once late. He dumped one off, I think, to Amir Abdullah, CJ Ham, the touchdown, which we know. CJ Ham, hell of a play, lower to shoulder, drove the legs, he got in. Chad Beebe, a couple catches. But yeah, we kind of called it in the pregame. We knew with these two guys back, that's where Cousins was going to be looking, and that's what he did. Especially like on the touchdown was that Thielen? He was looking him all the way. There was no other option on that route. So he loves his boys, and he's going to feed his boys like a good dad would.
Well, he's feeding the right ones because they're damn good. Defensively, shocking that we haven't mentioned him yet, but Cam Dantzler, 3rd round rookie. What a game. What a damn game.
Yeah, we kind of called it what rookie was going to get the first interception. Cam Dantzler, kind of a weird one. Kind of just pulled it away from the receiver. I remember if it was a receiver or a tight end, but
wanted it more.
Took it away, got it. Forced a fumble again late, which actually turned out to be key. The Vikings were kind of pulling away at that point. But that actually ended up being a huge play. So Cam Dantzler making some plays happen. Glad he went out late with an injury. Not sure the extent of that. But Cam Dantzler, hell of a performance. And there's another young guy who stepped up, Jordan Braileford.
Hell yeah.
He was in on the safety. I believe he had a few more pressures. Maybe he had another sack. This guy was he was on fire. I'm starting to wonder why he wasn't active a little bit more.
Yeah, Jordan Brailford all over the place. Eddie Yarbrough was in a couple plays. Good to see old 5'2" out there. He's been on the practice squad, which seems like about 15 years. So it was good to see Yarbrough. Defensively, Odenabo was the one who got that safety. So it was great to see him finally make some plays. And one guy that has been pretty quiet this year, surprisingly, I wouldn't say quiet, I don't know what you call it, but Anthony Harris had a good game. It was good to see him have a good game because, damn it, we needed it.
He needed it. Harrison Smith showing up again like he always does. Todd Davis had a pretty good game. Troy Dye, he went from looking like a long snapper to looking like you said during the game, the generic guy in Madden you make who has no stats yet. He's just standing there.
Yeah, Troy Dye looks like he did his shopping for his pads and all football gear at Walmart. I think he has the kid shoulder pads. They need to really maybe get a neck roll like Christian Okoye, something to make him a little more intimidating because he is just an itty-bitty little guy out there.
Yeah, he is something. The run defense actually held up fairly well. James Robinson, if that was going to have a bigger game on the ground. Vikings did pretty well. Jill Johnson did make some plays. Nothing too exciting with just 2 tackles on the day, but he was in there. Dan Chestina, he did it. He made a big play on special teams. I think you wrote taking a piss, but he did it. He just hustled his ass down there. Initially missed, came back, made the tackle. That was a big late punt. I think they're going to penalty, push him back there 10 yards. That might have been an overtime. So Chesina finally showing up.
Yeah, and even before that, again, what's kind of been his MO all year is he gets down there, he just kind of keeps running right by him. So he gets there, he just forgets to tackle these guys. So if he ever gets that down, it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. He either misses the tackle or just keeps going. But again, he was there. He did what he had to do. So I mean, a lot of different guys stepped up. Last week we saw on the offensive side with the receivers stepping up. I mean, here with Eric Kendricks going out late, guys like Troy Dye, Todd Davis stepping up, making plays, Cam Dantzler. This Braileford guy. So nice to see some other faces getting in there. The one thing we didn't hear anything from was from the Ginger Snap. Your boy was very quiet today.
Yeah, he'll make up for it next week. Couple things I want to hit on quick. You already hit on it. James Robinson, we did good. We shut him down. Colin Johnson, their rookie wide receiver from Texas. How dare him pull out the gritty when he gets that 2-point conversion? You're on a 1-10 team and you have really done jack shit all year, and you're going to pull that crap. Shame on you.
Yeah, the only reason he catches balls because he's like 6'10". He's just taller than everybody.
He is. I actually wanted the Vikings to take him. I loved his size, but didn't like what he did there. So yeah, what else we got to do before we go into our studs and turds?
I don't know. I maybe we should point out Britton Colquitt actually had a pretty damn good game today too. Had some clutch puns, especially late when what was it, end of regulation when the no, it wasn't. I don't know, maybe it was overtime. Anyway, the Vikings didn't have great field position. He kicked them out of it. It was a penalty tacked onto that. So I thought Britton Colquitt had a damn good game. We should point
that was
out
an overtime. That was big. That might have been the play of the frickin' day.
It might have been. So Britton Colquitt, we have given you shit, which you've deserved, but this time you can point up because you did well.
Do you think we should give Bubbles any love or not?
I can't remember why we were going to be honest with you.
I can. Bubbles, our counterpart watching this game, he made some pretty good predictions, and that's enough time for Bubbles. Moving on.
Yeah. He's probably still there. Anyway, I mean, here's the thing with the Vikings. If they don't get in their own way, they probably win this thing by 3 scores. But you have a pick 6, you miss extra points, you fumble on the goal line. You are basically playing 2 teams when you do shit like that. And the Vikings, not only do they have to play the Jaguars, they also have to overcome their own mistakes. Playoff teams don't do this. And this is why I'm very concerned about the Vikings' playoff chances.
Well, I'm concerned about the play calling, especially in the first half. We got outmatched by the Jaguars. We were throwing tiny dink and dunks, like we already said. And every time we seem to go deep or at least try to stretch the field, good things happen. So we should have done that right from the get-go. We were playing down to the Jaguars right from the start. We were playing safe. We just wanted to get the win, and it was biting us in the ass. So shame on us. Hopefully they learn from this. Hopefully next week against the Bucs, when we're playing with a team that has that many weapons, we're not going to get away with this shit. So they need to come out with a little bit of balls.
Yeah, and it'll be fun to see us in the underdog role again, playing against a team that is supposed to beat us, and we're not supposed to beat them. Tom Brady has thrown a lot of balls up for grabs, so it could be some opportunities in the secondary. But I want to see the Vikings rise up to that challenge. It'd be very interesting, and it would be a huge test moving forward. If they do make the playoffs, can they actually hang with one of these teams that are in the hunt right now?
Yeah, so it was a gross win, but it was a win. A couple things to keep an eye on. See what's up with this Kendricks injury. Jeff Gladney, see what's up there. That could be very, very devastating for the Vikings if those guys are out for a long period of time. But we're moving on. We're moving on to the Bucs next week. Is it time to go into our stud and turd?
I think it is. We got this thing covered like Fred Smoot.
Fred frickin' Smoot. All right, let's start with our turd. Who's your turd of the game?
This was up and down. It changed a little bit throughout the game. Chris Boyd had it early, but some guy, he decided, you know what? I want this thing more in my stupid little shoes with my ankle showing. It is Dan Bailey. You missed 2 extra points. You have a chance to win the game with a field goal late. You're not even close. Of course, that camera view CBS gave us did us no favors. Dan Bailey, you were the turd of the game. This game should have been put away, and your leg had a lot to do with why the Jacksonville Jaguars were still around and still alive.
Yeah, you shouldn't look at a box score and see 1 for 3 from extra points. That's bad. When you're in overtime and you're inside the 20 and you're still pounding the ball to the point where you're inside the 5 and still not bringing him out there, that is an issue. Dan Bailey is also my stud or turd of the game.
Jesus. All right, well then, who is your stud of the game?
I'm gonna throw a real curveball here. I think. I mean, there is some good options here. Cam Dantzler had a great game. There's a lot of guys who had some very good games. I'm doing it. I'm giving it to the punter. Colquitt. That punt he had in overtime when we were back, that could have. I mean, he came through big time, and he had a very, very good game. And he's had a little bit of an up and down year. I'm giving it to the punter, Britton Colquitt. Hell of a game. You are my stud.
Well, he was not my stud of the game, but he did come through. He was clutch. I agree with everything you said. I'm giving it to Cam Dantzler. We said early we want to see a rookie make a play with these rookie corners. They even said in the pregame of the game itself on CBS. Interception, kind of an aggressive interception, just ripped it away. Then the forced fumble again where he would just want the ball more. And, you know, after he turned over one of them, we ended up scoring. He just sitting on the bench, no expression, didn't give a shit. Like, you know what? I expect this to happen every single time. I love that about Cam Dantzler. And, yeah, and maybe it's just because he's played 3-4 games in a row now, not, you know, playing, getting hurt, missing the game, coming back. I hope he just kind of keeps building off this. But Cam Dantzler, those are huge plays. I started the game. No doubt.
Yeah, well deserved. And a golf clap for the Vikings for the win.
Yeah, we'll take the win. Obviously, we're going to take the win, not in the fashion we wanted to see. We want to see it, you know, impose your will, beat a bad team. They couldn't do that, but they did get the win, as ugly as it was.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Well, there's one more thing we got to do. Little knowledge for you all before we say goodbye. Here's something about our friendly friends in the sky, the crows. Crows are able to remember the faces of people who harass them and abuse them, and they will invite other crows to join them to take revenge. So never make fun of a crow.